Welcome to the instructional video for Chapter 7. This entire instructional video is on transformations that come in three forms: translations, rotations, and reflections. In this video, you'll need access to a protractor, a ruler, your textbook, and your Chapter 7 note guide. Please take a moment to pause the video, gather your materials, and come back and press play when you have everything on your desk. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could open up your book to page 388, the three vocabulary terms that are in section 7.1, translation, image, and pre-image, are listed on that page. If you'll take a moment to press pause, jot down the definitions for those three vocabulary terms and or diagrams for those terms. Press pause while you're doing that. Resume play once you have finished that task. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that you jotted down the vocabulary and the critical concepts of your math binder, we're going to go ahead and create our first translation. So we have to translate triangle ABC. So I have triangle ABC here, 5 units horizontally. Now because this is 5 and it's positive, and I'm talking about a horizontal move, I'm going to move this to the right. If it was negative or it suggested we move it to the left, we would move it to the left. So I'm going to start first with the vertex C. And I need to move this 5 places to the right. So I'm going to put my pen on here so you can see how I'm counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be my new vertice. And I'm going to label this as C. And then I'm going to put a mark here. That mark stands for C prime. And it lets me know that this was not my original vertex. So some translation or transformation, happened to move C from its original spot to this spot. Now I'm going to take a second here and I am going to erase these marks. I'm not going to erase those marks. It's not letting me erase them right now. So, I can't erase them. So now I need to do the same thing with point A. So I'm going to start with point A right here. I'm going to translate this 5 to the right. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's my new A prime. Pause the video while you are plotting points A and C, A prime and C prime, and finish B. So resume play on the instructional video once you have B prime plotted and you've connected A prime, B prime, and C prime with a straight edge. Now that you've connected A prime, B prime, and C prime with a straight edge, your image should look just like mine. All right, again, pause the video and take a moment to fill out the ordered pairs for triangle ABC and for triangle A prime, B prime, and C prime on your Chapter 7 instructional video note guide. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I went ahead and I filled in my ordered pairs for A prime, B prime, and C prime. Whoops, those would be down here. And A, B, and C up here. Now, I want you to take a minute to fill out on your Chapter 7 instructional note guide, what do you notice about these ordered pairs? So I want you to think about, you just moved horizontally, what values in your ordered pairs changed, and what values perhaps stayed the same. So take a second, pause the video, and write down what do you notice about these ordered pairs. Now that you've taken a moment to write down a reflection about the ordered pairs in both triangles, take a moment to look at the two triangles themselves, the triangles on my screen or the triangles that you have on your instructional note guide. What do you notice in particular about the triangles in terms of what they look like? So take a second to press pause and then press play when you're ready to resume the video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, open your book to page 409 and jot down the 3 definitions here on rotations on a coordinate plane in your critical concept section of your math binder. When you're finished jotting down the definitions and or diagrams and pictures to help you define those terms, I'd also like you to read the 7-3 rotation portion of your note guide. And what I want you to do is rotate triangle ABC 180 degrees around the origin. What you're going to see is there's step-by-step directions in the note guide on how to do that. I want you to read each step and rotate triangle ABC on your own. So there's a piece of graph paper in there dedicated to making this rotation happen. Just as a side note, you're going to need a ruler and a protractor to make this happen. Now that you've gotten all the directions on 7.3 rotations, I'd like you to pause the video, jot down the vocabulary, and complete the 7.3 rotation note guide section of triangle ABC. Press play when you're ready to resume the video. You should have just completed the 7.3 vocabulary, and you should have just rotated the triangle ABC 180 degrees about the origin on the 7.3 rotation note guide. I want you to make sure that you take a moment to reflect on anything you notice about the triangles ABC and A prime, B prime, C prime that you just rotated. So take a second to pause the video and jot down your observation on the 7.3 rotation note guide right next to the coordinate plane where you rotated the two triangles. Press play when you're ready to resume the instructional video. This is the last section our instructional video is going to cover on reflections. So if you could turn to page 416 in your textbook, jot down these vocabulary terms and the critical concepts of your mathematical binder. And you might also, again, want to include any diagrams along with your vocabulary terms. Now, before you hit pause, just a big heads up. In this section, you're going to need to know how to graph and write equations of vertical and horizontal lines. So before you press pause to write down these vocabulary terms, you might need to grab your mathematical binder and look up notes refreshing your memory on how to write and graph equations of vertical and horizontal lines. It's going to be critical in this section. So go ahead, press pause when you're ready, and resume play when you've completed these tasks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this will be our first reflection. And we're going to reflect parallelogram ABCD over the line y equals -1. So hopefully in your quick review of vertical and horizontal lines, you'll recognize that y equals -1 is a horizontal line. This equation just has a y in it, no x. So it's telling me it goes through the y-axis at -1. So it's going to look something like this. So go ahead and grab a straight edge. It's going to be important that you use a straight edge for this. Make a line at y equals -1. And it's important for you to know that on my iPad, when I'm drawing straight lines, I don't have the capability of using a straight edge. So you're going to have to bear with me here. All right, so there's my, my horizontal line, y equals -1. Now what I need to do is I need to reflect the trapezoid, or the parallelogram, over that line. So you can see that B is 1 unit below the horizontal line. So B prime needs to be 1 unit above the horizontal line. So that's B prime. Okay, I'll do one more ordered pair for you, or one more vertex. A is 1, 2, 3, 4 units below the horizontal line, so it needs to be 4 units above. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my new A prime. Press pause in the video while you're plotting C prime and D prime. Connect the 4 vertices with a straight edge, and when you're ready, resume the instructional video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what your reflection should look like. I'm going to point out that all my vertices are connected with a straight line. All my vertices are labeled A, B, C, D, and A prime, B prime, and C prime. So this is what your reflection should look like on your instructional note guide. Take a quick moment to think about, what does the equation look like for a vertical line? And if you're not sure what that equation looks like for a vertical line, then make sure you ask your teacher before class is over today, because you'll see that tonight on your homework. So ladies and gentlemen, again, we have the same reflection. Write down something that you noticed about this reflection. So look at these two parallelograms. Is there anything in particular that you notice about them? So take a moment, press pause on the instructional video, and write down a quick reflection about what you see happening with these two parallelograms. Ladies and gentlemen, last question I'd like you to fill out in your instructional note guide is, what did you notice about all the transformations? The transformations, again, being the translations, the reflections, and the rotations. So take a quick second to think about, what do we do with the different shapes, and what did the image look like compared to the pre-image? Once you've completed this final question, go ahead and complete the checkpoints that are in your note guide and check in with your teacher to earn your homework.